Ladies and gentlemen, as we are just getting set up, we are getting ready to go racing for round number 20, the penultimate round of the championship of the NORL F1 2018 championship. And we are back, this time in Sao Paulo, looking to see who's going to get that pole position now to make things very simple for you here today to keep the championship battle alive. Nibbler must outscore his teammate Chazza. He has to finish ahead of him here today or it's all over. And Chazza will win the championship with 1 round to spare. Definitely not something that he wants, but something that is a possibility here today. Let me know in the chat who you think is going to win this inter-Ferrari battle here today. Will Chazza win the championship, do you think? Or will it go to Abu Dhabi? Will Nibbler strike back? Or will Chazza put it all away? No matter what happens, it'll be a tough job for Nibbler to take it. And he can start off that tough mountain to climb by taking pole position. And he's going to go and take pole position here at Brazil. Not by much. Just over a 10th. But he gets the pole. Any other noticeable shout-outs on there? I think Dougie Afroman got 4th place. I'm not sure. We'll double check. I think he might just have lost it in the last sector. He got a poor exit out the final corner. And he did drop a few positions. But Nibbler, most importantly, on pole position and in prime position to outscore his teammate here today. Murcielago, what a stonker of a lap. Up in P3. That's his highest qualifying of the season. Great job by Murcielago starting up in 3rd for Red Bull. Dougie Afroman up there again in P5. Ragnar down in P6 on the soft tyres. So him and Danny could throw some fireworks in today. Is there anyone else that looks like they might be a bit out of position? Anon Tanovic is a little bit further down than he would have liked. But he is on the mediums. So he's going to go for a very, very long stint. But it's Nibbler, most importantly, on pole position. Chazza will line up second. Let me know in the chat if you are listening, watching from wherever you are in the world. Who is going to win? We don't know. We have no idea. Could be anyone. Let's find out. And it's raining. Round 20. It's very interesting. I'm sure that's going to implement something to it. But what could it be? Let's find out. We'll get ready for that ultimate formation lap in the penultimate round. The wet weather might have something to say about this. Who is the more confident wet weather driver, I wonder? Callum Spencer just wants to get on with things. And he's just flying away. Murcielago's been bumped off the circuit in turn 1. Luckily this is the formation and not the actual race. Nibbler desperate to get some heat in his tyres. And he is disqualified, so that could have an effect. Gets disqualified for making contact with someone. He'll start from pole position. Interesting. But he's not going to have as much wear as his teammate now. His teammate is keying to do something that was a counter to what the 2 Ferraris did this time last week. Now they stayed right at the very back. Kind of like Marcus staying a little bit back, but not as much. Chaz is trying to bunch everyone up as much as he can, so no one is going to get the advantage of having warmer tyres than the rest of the grid. He wants to keep everyone nice and close. And then no doubt he will back them up massively towards the end. So, let's get ready to go racing. For round number 20 of the Nemesis Online Racing League F1 2018 Championship. The two Italian stallions will do battle at the front. There's still other positions to be decided in the championship. Brazil always throws up some crazy scenarios. Dougie Afroman and Nibbler will start with cold tyres due to being disqualified on that formation lap. How will that affect them? Will Chaz be able to take the lead into turn one? Let's find out. As we clear the vocal cords for what is sure to be a crazy, crazy start. So here we go then. It is 5 red lights. And it is lights out, away we go. Who gets the better start at the front? It's kind of hard to tell, but it looks like Chaz has got the better second phase of the start. He'll have the inside line. Can he seal the deal? Going into turn one, Nibbler will have to try hold it. He needs to stay in front for the championship, and he does hold it. Chaz is going to get squeezed out just a little bit. There's contact in the background. There's some cars going around. That's Callum Spencer. Has had a nightmare of a start. And we'll go around very early on here at the start of the Brazilian Grand Prix. But meanwhile, in the background, we got battles left, right, and centre. Dougie Afroman's dropped some positions like we said he would with them cold tyres. He's now struggling a little bit on the phase of his start. He's been forced out wide. I think that was Galactical 2 forced out there. Lord Jod's all over the place. Nemesis Racing's all over the place. We've got more contact. Defstez is out of the session after contact in the background. One Force India went round at the start, the other DNFs. What a crazy start to this Grand Prix. So, crazy racing going on in the background. Kevin Jacobs is not in the business for making friends. Hasan Altanovic losing grip. Now he'll be absolutely heartbroken because he qualified on the mediums to get a good start, but they get relegated because he's having to start on wet tyres. That's Nemesis Racing up the inside of Dougie Afroman, and we're just trying to get positions gained up on the screen to see who went where. There we go. Big winner in that was Altanovic, despite that crazy start. Now, Lord George is closing in on the back of Nemesis Racing, looking like he's going to try and go clean around the outside. And is he going to be able to do it as they get into the break? And Nemesis locks up, he can't stop. He's going to go straight off the track. And where's that going to bring him back in front? That is a Sauber getting sideways in the background. That was Dougie Afroman. He's losing out. Maka in the pits, as well as Callum Spencer. Crazy Racing once again. Danny Bin Lahar eager to put the pressure onto Chazza ahead. Try stop this from being a Ferrari 1-2 straight away. We can see in the background Altanovic. Look at that. Where did Ragnar come from? Just steamed around the outside of Altanovic there. But Arnold's fighting back on the inside, but there's nowhere to go unless he can send it up the inside. No, doesn't have the opportunity, doesn't have the grip to pull it off. Stays back for now. Cal Spencer just hit the wall, exiting the pit lane. I hope he doesn't have damage, because that'd be disastrous. But there's not a lot of grip whatsoever. It's very slippery. Cars everywhere. Murcielago's now making mistakes. That's going to allow Kevin Jacobs to close in on him. Danny Bin Lahar still trying to chase down Chazza for P2. The Ferraris don't have control of this race right now. They don't have the pace in the wet weather. Danny Bin Lahar is a legitimate threat for the race win. And wouldn't that throw a spanner in the works? Nemesis Racing's looking like he's going to try to chase down his compatriot. We've had another spin in the meantime in Sector 2 somewhere. We're trying to check that for you now, but we can't see anyone. Whoever's got it has got it all under control and is back to racing. Nemesis Racing couldn't get the ground on his teammate and has to stay down. Sorry, not his teammate, his compatriot. Has to stay behind, but there is a train forming, and at the head of it is currently Ragnar, who looks like he's holding everyone up just a little bit. So Nibbler still leads from Chazza, but Danny Bin Lahar is both keeping them honest. See, Nemesis Racing's really trying to go after Ragnar here. He gets the better launch out of that corner, but still drifting through the puddles. We go around. Easy as you do it. The train slivers on. And you got to be careful when you're racing in close proximity like this, because you're getting spray from the car ahead consistently, making it a lot harder to see where your braking zones are, where you can make a move, anything of that nature. Into the final sector comes this train. And Altanovic losing out a bit, but it's Lord George. Looks like he might send some pressure in the way of Nemesis Racing. That was a Sauber of Galactic Skull 2 going very wide. In the meantime, what's going on at the front? I thought The gap was drastically decreasing there, but it is just a slipstream effect. So here goes Lord George, looking like he's going to go around the outside. Look at the speed difference. Is he going to be able to stop? We saw Nemesis do this and he couldn't stop. But this time Nemesis holds the inside line. Doesn't let Lord George past. And Lord George sits behind him once again. Meanwhile, Galactic Skull 2 has been chased down by his teammate whilst he's having off-track excursions of himself, sorry. Still a big train forming. All cars still in earshot of each other. Chaz is really putting the pressure on his teammate now, trying to end the championship fight as soon as he can. Ragnar is out of the session. Is that big contact? We can't really see. There he is in the background. Did he make contact with anyone? Has he had a spin? Nemesis looks like he's had a little bit of a nightmare as well. Dougie Afroman eager to take down the wounded Italian. Has to do it around the outside, which turns to the inside, which gives Nemesis the corner. They bang wheels with each other. It's getting dangerous between the side. The Haas loses the rear end though, subdues and lets go of the Sauber into P9 for the Sauber now. So Ferrari pushing hard, trying to close down the other Ferrari of his teammate. And it's closer than you can imagine. So Ragnar out of the Grand Prix after making a mistake in the wet. Was the contact? We're not sure. We did not see the accident. But Chaz looks a bit more comfortable than Nibbler at this point in the Grand Prix. Danny Bin Lahar looked like he could be a genuine threat. There's a lot of debris, but Danny Bin Lahar is just making his own Interlagos in the background. Nibbler go up the inside, no. Hangs back. Chaz downshifts an extra gear there to get some front end turning. Now is there anything? No, nothing from Chaz. Has to hold back until they can go on the next straight. But it'll be close, I'm sure. Now, they've both pretty much got full ERS in this particular case. We can see what mode they're in. Now watch on the straight. Down on the bottom right of your screen, we can see shock level 2 on the right and shock level 4, which means this man is in overtake mode using all of his ERS, whereas Chazza is not. Chaz is conserving his ERS and still staying behind Nibbler just by having that slipstream effect. Chazza makes a bit of a mistake though, goes wide. He's going to lose a few temps through there to his teammate of Nibbler. Nibbler's saving a bit of ERS, not putting it all to use this time. Is Chazza going to put his up to full? No, he's not. Murcielago's in hot lap mode, absolutely wasting his ERS, while Kevin Jacobs behind isn't using that much. Oh, Anil Tanovic has had a big slide. Almost saved it into the wall. Big crash for the McLaren. That was spectacular. He had a huge tank slapper. Caught it. Very lucky to not DNF there, Anil Tanovic. That was huge. If someone was on the track, then that would have been something absolutely detrimental. But gets away with it with a big, big slide. So the Ferraris following each other around once again into the final corner. Really smashing through the gears. That's a bad exit from Nibbler. This is Chaz's opportunity to take the lead of the Grand Prix. This is the best opportunity he's had. Nibbler's had to go to hot lap mode to try get some straight line speed to defend this. Chaz is still electing to not use his ERS, but he pulls alongside anyway. Doesn't need ERS. Yes, he does this time. The ERS advantage of being in hot lap mode 5 for Nibbler. Pulls him ahead of his teammate and keeps him ahead after that poor mistake. If Chazza went into overtake mode as well, he could have quite easily taken the lead of the Grand Prix there and put himself into championship winning position. Will he do it this time around though? Nibbler's not doing it. This is the opportunity Chazza could have been waiting for, but no, Chazza not in a position to take the lead of the Grand Prix despite mistakes from his teammate. So in comes Anil to lick his wounds after that huge crash. Very lucky to not DNF. Two Saubers, meanwhile, are having a battle of their own. Crazy racing going on between the top two, putting on a show for us here today. as we go into the final corner. Down the start-finish straight we go then once again, and it is Nibbler going into defensive with his ERS usage. Chazza still electing to just not use any ERS. What's he saving it for if not for these opportunities? Big front lockup will really hurt the pain. Will increase the pain is probably a better way to put it, of the intermediate on the front left. That scrubbing is going to come into effect later on and will feel quite understeery, especially if it's a big patch on it from the lockup. So into the middle sector we come. Chazza looking for anything but nothing doing on this occasion. Kevin Jacobs in the meantime closing down Murcielago, who had a very good qualifier. He's not had a very good race so far. Lost a position off the podium. He's hovering around 4th place at the moment. But he's not looking in good shape for his ERS. It's looking like a bad situation to be in. Because when it comes to the straight, if Kevin saves and saves and saves, which he's not doing at the moment, Kevin's going to have a huge boost of ERS to help him make this overtake, but he needs to conserve it a bit more. So right now he's in mode 3, somehow still gaining it. So onto the straight we will come. Now is Chazza going to assault Nimbler into turn 1? I don't think he will. Oh, that was from a long way back. Big lockup in his attempt to get past his teammate. Meanwhile, the next 3 are doing battle once again, and it's Lordjord who's gaining more than anybody. And will Lordjord send it? No, he will not. He'll hang back, just like Chaz is hanging back on his teammate. These boys will come into contention now. Down the straight. Now, is Murcielago being able to get any more ERS? Not really. He's in a better position than he was, but still not ideal. And Kevin Jacobs doesn't have any room to make the overtake. Lordjord closing in behind as well. Now Altanovic is closing up to Callum Spencer after pitting for a new front wing. So you can see Anil clearly on newer tyres because he had that accident, as did Callum Spencer had an accident on the very first lap. And they have been reduced to fighting for a point. Anil trying to set up Callum for a better run. Callum has about the same ERS as Anil. There has been an accident of some kind, and I think that was Murcielago. Lost a whole heap of positions. I think he's had a bit of a nightmare somewhere. Oh, Callum Spencer's up on that curb, almost spins out, and I think that's exactly what Ragnar did. Danny, in the meantime, pits from 3rd place, going for the undercut on the Ferraris, and are really pressuring the back of the Force India at the moment. And here you can see there's been a change of position, and that's because Lordjord and Kevin are battling while Danny is pitting as well. He'll come out behind all this chaos. And Murcielago under pressure now from Dougie Aframan. Dougie Aframan making a little bit of a mistake himself, trying to catch the rear end. Just not a lot of grit down the S-bends. Really struggling at the moment. And once again, we will wait for more action to occur. And Altanovic has about the same ERS as Callum Spencer, so probably not going to be able to gain overly much into turn 1. He'll try his utmost, but what a run from Altanovic! Just going to steam past Callum Spencer with the overrun, but Callum Spencer will try to switch back. He'll try hold it on the outside. Now we'll go and switch back to the other side and try and get a better run. And he'll do exactly that. And much like Max Verstappen in 2016, will drive clean around the outside of Altanovic. But this time, Altanovic comes back using ERS to try extend the advantage a little bit. Callum Spencer loses the position after all of that, but Altanovic goes a little bit wide, and that's going to allow Callum Spencer to get a run. And he does get a run, but where's he going to go with it? Contact! And Altanovic is gone! And he's out of the session. Was there contact there? Or was that Altanovic's mistake? Either way, Altanovic is out of the Grand Prix in a big, big way. And well, what do you know? Crazy stuff has occurred. Once again, We have some more guys trying to pit. Everyone's going at it with Murcielago this time around. Meanwhile, Lord Jod's going at it with Kevin Jacobs as well, trying to go around the outside. Not getting the move done on that occasion. Can Dougie Aframan on Murcielago? No, he cannot. So it's back to the watching Lord Jod, seeing if he can get past Kevin Jacobs. Both of these guys tried to make moves. Both of them failed to make moves. And now they'll have to wait for their next opportunity. Not an opportunity available in the inside of there. But Dougie Aframan senses one. Almost goes at the inside. And messes up his run through the next corner. In doing so, braking late, closing the gap to Murcielago through the braking zone. Got to be careful because Danny Bin Lahar's closing in on much newer tyres behind. And honestly, the wise thing to do would just let Danny past. But they don't want to lose any time to each other either. So there's now only one runner outside of the points due to all the chaos that we've had. We've had 3 DNFs, and this is Danny Bin Lahar going up the inside of Dougie Aframan. Just so much more grit. There's nothing Dougie Aframan has to say about it. And meanwhile, Lord Jod going at it with Kevin Jacobs in the Haas then. Looking to go all the way around the outside into turn 1. Now, we saw something similar to this with Nemesis Racing, like we say, but Nemesis could not stop. Lord Jod can stop. The move is done, and Maka is now out of the session. So another DNF. What a crazy set of circumstances. There's so many races going on wherever you look. Danny Bin Lahar now looking to get past Murcielago, sorry. And does get the move done, but Murcielago's coming back. And that's because Danny Bin Lahar has gone around. Oh no, that is going to ruin the undercut attempt from Danny Bin Lahar. It looks like he's gone too wide, lost the grip, and found himself a mighty-sized puddle. Unless there was contact between him and Murcielago, but he's gone around. And will come back out in 7th, and all the hard work that he's done thus far will be reset. Chaz is still trying to find a way past his teammate. Desperately looking. Nibbler's still under a lot of pressure, losing the rear end. The Ferraris go to battle once more. Down the straight they will come. Chaz are getting the slipstream of his life. Still finding nowhere to go with it. But there's no opportunities now for quite some time. Dougie Aframan is overtaking no one because he's in the pits, as is Murcielago. A little bit of a hold there, and Dougie Aframan comes out behind Murcielago. Won't be happy about that. Lock up from Chazza as he closes in on his teammate. Pushing with all his might to try pass the Australian ahead. He saves so much ERS, but he never uses it. That is the biggest downfall of Chandler at the moment. Don't know if he's waiting for his opportunity to pounce, but his teammate pulls away in these straights because his teammate's simply using the available energy. Chazza is not. So Nibbler a lot more efficient with his energy at the moment in using it to extend the gap and then recharging it enough. So even if he does make a mistake, he's got some to back him up. But again, we will see another car into the pits. And that is the very ill-sounding Mercedes of Lord Jod. Kevin stays out once more. So Lord Jod into the pits. He was in a battle with the likes of Murcielago and Dougie Aframan. We'll see where he comes out in relevance to them. As Murcielago. Dougie Aframan's not had a very good outlap at all. He's lost the position to his teammate. Now gaining on his teammate, looking to make the overtake. It should be quite a synchronized switch here. Up the inside, job is a good one. Will Galactic Skull 2 come back? Does not look like he will. Makes a bit of a mistake. And that's Dougie Aframan into P2. But this time, the Ferraris are dicing it up again. Now, I'm interested to see who makes the first pit stop out of these two. So clearly overtaking isn't on the menu. Championship still alive at this point. If things were to finish as they are today, the championship would go to... Oh, that's a mistake from Nibbler. What is going on between the Ferraris here? Chazza now going around the outside, gets the move done. And it's a puncture. I think Nibbler has a puncture, and he's in the wall. That's it. The championship's over. Nibbler is out of the championship and the race. It is all said and done. As long... Oh, it's all over no matter what happens now. Nibbler is out. He had a puncture, and it's caused him to crash. He had too much wear on that rear tyre, and that has caused him to spin out into the wall. Nibbler is out of the championship, and no matter what happens, Chazza is your champion. Nibbler out. Heartbreaking defeat. It is all over for Nibbler. It is all over before it even begun. It is all gone in a heartbeat. The Australian is out. Chazza wins the championship. Can he win the race? He's got a 35-second lead to do so, but that is absolute heartbreak. That is not the way the Australian wanted to. And quite literally, he goes crashing out of the championship. It's game over for 2018. And that will feel like a kick to the teeth. Such a long campaign for both Ferraris, such an impressive campaign by both Ferraris. And it's all gone, just like that. However, with all of that being said, we still do have other races and other championship positions to be decided. So the show will go on. But 16 laps in to the penultimate race, your main Drivers' Championship is gone over and dusted. And Nibbler will leave, and I will imagine he will go console himself. Try find some positive to take away from it. And that obviously with the performance balancing act, that could have been his last opportunity to win an NORL F1 title. And it's all gone. Only one could win it, and it was Chazza. And that could be the last opportunity, and that will not make it any easier for Nibbler. And I suspect we'll see something similar to the lines of Ayrton Senna when he crashed out at Monaco, where Nibbler will just go find some alone time and let everything that's just happened sink in. That is not the way any one of us wanted to see the championship end, but that is the way that it does end. Nibbler got a puncture, couldn't hold on to it, and it all just went. But that's the risk that they were playing. Ferrari stayed out longer than anyone else on the intermediates, and clearly they went too long. Couldn't make the strategy work, and Nibbler's paid for it ultimately. And I think he'll be absolutely devastated. Nibbler, a very emotional racer. And what a way to go. More racing still to be had then, as we see Galactic Skull getting drifty with it. And I think surely that should have scared Chazza into making a pit stop, because he doesn't want to suffer a similar fate. I mean, it really doesn't matter to Chazza, because no matter what, even who DNFs, now he has a 26-point gap. So there's no chance that he's going to... Oh, Dougie Afroman almost losing it as well. The track getting very, very wet, very slippery, and it will force Chazza into a pit stop. He doesn't want to risk suffering the same fate. But no matter what happens, that man is your champion. And it's Heartbreak Hotel. There was many variables this season, but that's how it all ends, with a big bang. Quite literally. So, away we go once again then, in terms of the Haas versus Sauber battle. It will continue with Nemesis trying to close in on Dougie Afroman, but he is on one lap older tyres, so it's going to be a little bit tricky to gain in the traction zones. We saw Dougie have some close calls already. And through the final corner we go. Heading up to turn one, really going for it now, Nemesis Racing, but losing time all the while to the car ahead. However, that Dougie Afroman Sauber doesn't have a lot of ERS to play with, running out of it. So if Nemesis can keep his back end in check, then he's probably going to be able to utilise that to push and close the gap to the Sauber ahead. To Nemesis pushing hard. Dougie Afroman losing it again though. Dougie's struggling in these wet conditions over the last few laps. He's had two big slides that could have given him a bit of damage if he hit flips anyone while doing those slides, obviously. Down the hill we go. And out of the final corner. So Dougie Afroman has considerably less ERS. Now they'll both go into... Dougie will go into high. Whereas the Haas will go into overtake. Use a bit of slipstream as well to help pull him along. And he's gaining, but not by enough. Looking to the inside, but he'll set Dougie Afroman up for another run. Both of them get a bit of swifty exit, but I think the better of the two bad exits was Nemesis's. So he'll pull alongside. He's right up behind. Dougie Afroman now switches the inside in a late maneuver. Dougie Afroman try and hold it around the outside, but it's Nemesis up into P6. Dougie Afroman will slip in behind and look for his next opportunity to retake 6th place. Nemesis gets the move done. So, around we go once again. This time, Dougie Afroman on the hunt. For any other fans of esports out there, of course, there is some significant events on this weekend with the Rainbow Six Invitational on currently. Team Empire taking on G2 Esports. I'm hearing it's a very good match at the moment. Can our boys hold a candle to it? Well, we've certainly had the same amount of drama. Galactic Skull 2 pits then for his second stop of the day. And I'm going to assume it's going to be more inters, unless Galactic Skull feels the track's getting wetter. But it looks like more intermediates to me. Maybe just suffering some tyre wear. Now, he's going to come out of the pits. Nah, Carl Spencer's not going to be close enough to overtake him out of the pits, to be fair. I thought it might be a possibility, but Carl Spencer's only coming into turn 1 now. Definitely gained a lot of time on the Scotsman, but not enough to capitalise on the pit exit. Chazza now responds with his own fastest lap of the Grand Prix then. Showing that he's still going for it. Going to take the win of the race and championship in one fatal blow. But we've still got 15 laps to go. Somehow. Feel like we've been racing quite a long time already. Must just be the level of drama that we've had. Alright, Nibbler, I promise I won't spoil Rainbow for you. Letting you know the current state of affairs is G2 versus Team Empire. So, going around once more. So, what do we have going on? In terms of battles, everything's pretty much spread out. It's pretty much come to a close in terms of battles for the meantime. Now, obviously, a lot of these guys are going to be looking to do a two-slot strategy. Excuse me. So that'll be interesting. And the interesting thing is, since Dougie Afroman got overtaken, he's really dropped off the back of Nemesis Racing, despite being on a lap younger tyres. So Dougie Afroman really doesn't have the pace at the moment. He's got a huge gap to his teammate. Obviously, his teammate potentially undercutting Dougie Afroman. Now, in this particular instance, Nemesis has less ERS, but he's still making massive gains on Murcielago. He'll go up the inside, but Murcielago lag bubbles back ahead, and now Nemesis will send a dive bomb. Murcielago still warping will warp around Nemesis Racing and take the position back with quite relative ease in that battle for P5. Now, he has a lot more ERS than Murcielago does. Into the middle sector we come. Still looking for an opportunity. Very close to the inside there. That could have been detrimental. So it's been a quite few quiet laps, as we've come accustomed to now. We usually have these boring phases of the race where pit stops come into play and everyone spreads out a little bit. But right now, Nemesis gets a monstrous run out the final corner to go alongside Murcielago and take P5 away from him, but Murcielago won't let that one go without a fight. They'll be side by side going into turn one. Murcielago has the outside line. Nemesis will have the favourite of the inside line now. Murcielago still lag bubbling around. We'll now go back around the outside. We'll try to switch back, but looks like he was squeezed out. And Nemesis takes P5. The Italian making the more worn tyres work for him at the moment. Really finding some good pace at the moment is Nemesis. Up into P5, that makes it Haas 4-5, so the Haas is doing pretty well here today. Some good points on offer for them. Lordjod's in a podium position as well. That's potentially looking at his first ever podium in NORL. But he's got 12 laps more to do if he wants to keep it. Is Murcielago coming back at Nemesis? I don't think he might be. Hard to say. Especially when he's lag bubbling, it's messing up with the timing system. So I can't really tell where Nemesis is in compared to Murcielago, because there's a lot of lag going on between the two of them. And Nemesis makes the right call to pit and get out of the way, because I'd be quite scared of racing Murcielago in his current internet state at the moment. The Nemesis race is being pits. What's he going to put on? Is it more inters? I think it might be. And it is. Now it'll go on a fresh set. Will he be undercutted by Galactic Skull 2? Galactic Skull 2 pitted 4 laps earlier to this. And I think Nemesis should be fine. There he is up there, you can just see him. Nemesis will come out ahead of Galactic Skull 2, but how much? By about a second and a half is the gap after the pit stops. So the undercut attempt was a valiant one, but not a successful one. And that is a big, big mistake from Danny Bin Lahar, who loses second place now to Lordjod UK. And he's got a puncture as well. You can hear it. We can't see it because the game won't let me come off the off-board camera. But there is a puncture for Danny Bin Lahar. Luckily, he's close to the pit lane, but disaster for Renault. Bigger disaster as he has a massive crash in the pit lane. And he's out of the Grand Prix in a big, big, big way. He'll actually pit now. I'm not sure his mechanics are going to be able to to take that off. Now, he comes in to retire, rightly so. Good time to pit if you are Murcielago and Dougie Aframan. Perfect timing for these boys with a virtual safety car. That is an unfortunate, very unfortunate accident. But the tyres are puncturing very early here at Interlagos, and a puncture takes his second victim of the day. Murcielago and Dougie Aframan will be big winners in that pit stop. Nemesis Racing will be the big loser because his undercut attempt at the cars ahead, like Murcielago, who he passed naturally, is pretty ruined. But it looks like we're back under green flag conditions almost immediately. That was the shortest virtual safety car I've ever seen in my life. And now Nemesis Racing will absolutely dive bomb Murcielago and take P4 away from him with one foul swoop. Alan Spencer will be caught a little bit off by the pit stop phase now. Galactic Skull 2 looking to go battling with his teammate. Can he go clean around the outside? It's a long, long corner, but he's not going to be able to do it. Forced out wide by his compatriot. And the two Saubers will get to know each other a little bit more face to face. Lord George now pits a lap earlier after seeing multiple people take the opportunity from the virtual safety car. Kevin Jacobs is up in second, Lord George third. What a crazy race we've had so far. Now, I don't think Nemesis is going to be able to undercut Lord George because he's way too far back. But how effective will the undercut be in terms of times gained? Now, he was 28.5 behind. We'll see what he is now. He's gained up to 13. So gained about 15 seconds, more than 15 seconds now as it comes down to 9. Will it decrease any further? No, it'll hover around 9-10 seconds. So Lord George safe on his podium for now in the rain as the Galactic Skull 2 Sauber there really getting feisty, trying to chase down his teammate. His teammate going a little bit wide ahead as well. One Sauber trying to chase down the other. Late braking. And around we go into the mid-sector. Through the middle sector we go. Lovely helicopter cam shot here to compare the lines of the two Saubers. Just looking at the throttle usage of each driver as well. You can see Galactic Skull 2 is a lot carefuler on his throttle than his teammate. His teammate seems to be able to get on it very quickly. Galactic Skull 2 feathering a bit more. So away they'll go then through the next sector. Yellow flag still being shown in this sector. However, we're not sure what for because the virtual safety car ended almost immediately. So it wasn't as much of an advantage for the pit stops as we thought it was and what it probably should have been. People like Callum Spencer was really caught out by that. Callum Spencer would have been really wishing it was a real safety car. Chazza was probably dreading it being a real safety car. In terms of the race win, he's got the championship all wrapped up now, so it doesn't really matter in terms of him losing the race win here today if that does happen. 8 laps to go. Still a long way when you think about it. So, we have Kevin Jacobs making his pit stop. Oh, his car sounds like it wants to die. And that's a very interesting sound coming from the Haas. Will Lord George undercut the American? He should do by quite some margin, to be fair. He was ahead. Kevin Jacobs only got ahead by not pitting. So Lord George comfortably into second place now. That'll be his best ever result in NORL. And I'm sure he'll be very happy about it. Galactic Skull 2 picks up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. That of which we can imagine is corner cutting and track extending. Let's have a look at the chat and see if anything else is going on. Yeah, sorry that I killed myself and the race. Yeah, impossible to control the car with a puncture. Paul Val, nice Val. That's the chat all from Nibbler. Good to see you still watching despite your earlier accident. Obviously a lot of drivers would I know I wouldn't have probably been watching. I would have not been best pleased, but you put up a mighty effort. Just unfortunate the circumstances ended the way it did, but what can you do? So, the only bad thing about the race now is the lack of gaps that we have. That pretty much every single gap is a second and a half or more, so there's really not a lot to commentate on at the moment. Really than just waiting to see who blinks in terms of pit stops. Now, when it comes to talking about pit stops, Chazza probably going to try extending this stint to the end. Now, they will take him to about 17 laps on these tyres. Now, the thing about that is Nibbler got a puncture on 17 lap old tyres, and Danny got a puncture on 17 lap old tyres. So Chazza really needs to use this 55-second gap that he has. Murcielago disconnects from the session, and that's not a surprise given his connection. That will give Dougie Aframan an incentive to hunt down Murcielago's AI, because the AI will be significantly slower than Murcielago actually was. So this could potentially be a free position for Dougie Aframan, while his AI slowly drives him around. Now, in terms of tyres, obviously, like we said, we saw both Danny and Nibbler get punctures on 17 lap old tyres. Now Chazza will be around that area come the end of the race, so he needs to use this 55-second gap to manage his tyres and save a bit of tyre life. Dougie Aframan will go down the inside of Murcielago's AI. Murcielago still hasn't rejoined the session, so there'll be no fight back. Free position for the Scotsman. Murcielago's connection was really poor for the majority of the second stint, so trying to figure out, because there's still, from what I can tell, there's still no red X above Murcielago's head, which means he's been disconnected. But again, at the same time, I didn't ever see it pop up, say Murcielago's, oh, well, there you go, speaking of the devil, and he shall appear. So, Murcielago will rejoin. We'll find out that he is being overtaken by Dougie Aframan whilst he was AFK. And we'll have to try do something about it. But at the moment, Dougie just looks faster. Dougie's had an interesting race. His pace has been very up and down. At some points he was clearly slow. Now there's a yellow flag in sector 3. Who could that be for? Nobody, apparently. Marshall's just trying to keep me, make sure I'm awake by throwing a few flags up now and again. Not really sure what that yellow flag was for. So Galactical 2 is going to try close in and pass Murcielago, the same as his teammate did. Bit unfortunate that Murcielago's race has gone this way. He's down in P6 after starting P3. Could have been better. Four laps in the Grand Prix to go. Lots of debris in Sector 2. Maybe some of the punctures were caused by that debris, we never know. Maybe slow puncture. Now Chazza will, based on this, he'll be on about 17 and a lap, half a lap. Excuse me once again. We'll be on about 17 and a half lap old tyres come the end of the Grand Prix. So he's going to be playing it careful. He's got to be, it's risky, to put it at that. It's risky what Chazza's doing, given the situation that two separate cars have had punctures and have massive crashes due to the punctures. Now, with him having almost a minute gap, he's got easily a gap to make a pit stop, just for safety. If he pits any time from now to about lap, like lap 35 at the latest, that's Scott 2 picks up a stop-go penalty for speeding in the pits, he would be safe to go to the end. So if I was Chazza and I wanted to take the win, I'd pit, honestly, get some new tyres, and then just make sure he can go to the end safely, because running around on 17 lap old tyres when two cars have done that and had punctures from it already, that's very risky. And is it really worth the risk when you got a minute gap to the car behind? Galactic Skull 2 has gone on the wet tyres. Interesting strategy here from Galactic Skull. Does Galactic Skull think it's getting wet? A bit too wet for the Inters, maybe? Let's have a watch. Bit of understeer. Can't tell if these are the right tyres or not. If these turn out to be the right tyres, then Chazza could probably pit for these, to be honest, but somehow, someway, I don't think they are. I think Galactic Skull 2 just saw the opportunity to try something ridiculous and has done that. Crazy, crazy, crazy. But these were the wrong decision for Galactic Skull 2. He'll probably have to come in and get them taken off, because that's not working. But then again, what's the point? He's in last anyway. Does he want to finish this Grand Prix? That's probably the thing, because they're very slippery. Oh well. What a crazy strategy. Not gone his way. Now, is Kevin closing in on Lord George for that second place, I wonder? Not really. Not really noticing a difference. So Chaz is on 16 lap tyres now. He's going to be on about 18 lap old tyres come the end of the Grand Prix. Risk is high. Let's check the chat once again. Best race I've seen Lord George race is Danny G. Hello Zuba Gaming, welcome along. Hope you're having a nice time. Nibbler thinks that Chaz will have much better tyre wear than him, so he doesn't have to worry about it. Merc made me spin, it wasn't my mistake. By the way, I'm not going to report him, it was a weird situation. Okay, so the spin from Danny Ibn Lahar was caused by contact then, I'm assuming, but he doesn't seem like he wants to report it, so doesn't need to worry about it on that regard. So we're all caught up on the chat for another chunk to the end of the Grand Prix. And this man has absolutely dominated after his championship rival crashed out of the race. Crashed out of the title chances. He'll be very happy to take the championship here today. His first NORL title. Couldn't do it in 2017. He was bested by KB Killerzone. And to an extent, we'll say his controversial entourage of drivers that suddenly appeared and made his life a lot harder. But this time, there's been no KB Killerzone, there's been no entourage, there's only been himself, Nibbler, Danny, and anyone else who dare challenged him. And it's him who came out on top. He'll begin his final lap of the Grand Prix. And it may not feel like it now, but I'm sure he'll be absolutely buzzing to say he's won an NORL title for the first time at the end of this lap. Even if he doesn't finish this lap and he crashes out, it's still his. Such is the gap that he has. What a long campaign it's been, and he's managed to win it with one round to go. In the end of the day, Chazza won. It's a very much a shame to see how Nibbler went out, but that is racing. And he's done it much better than he did the season before. Forever improvement from the Ferrari duo. They've made their way up the field and now they're at the front. Fortunately for Nibbler, he probably won't get another chance to strike back in 2019 with the new NORL performance rules, effectively ruling him and Chazza out. But for now, it's not about that. It's about now. And Chazza is going to come home to take the win and the NORL F1 2018 championship with it. There is your race winner. There is your champion. Chazza takes it all at Brazil. With one race to spare, the Brit does it in the rain. What an absolute stellar job by him. He gave it his absolute everything, as did Nibbler. But at the end of the day, it all came undone. But racing plays no favourites. And that's another chapter of NORL completed. And it is Chazza that wins it all. Both himself and Nibbler will be evaluated by the performance balancing rules. Lord Joe will come home to take his first ever podium in NORL. Congrats to him. Kevin Jacobs will take home another well-deserved podium for P3. Nemesis Racing climbed up to P4. Great race by the Italian. He'll take P4 home. Dougie Afroman will come home to take P5. Then it'll be Murcielago behind him and the rest of the supporting cast. Chazan wins it all in Brazil. It's been a crazy 20 rounds. We still have a round to go in Abu Dhabi to settle the rest of the championship positions. But for now, the man in red wins it all. His first NORL title. He'll be absolutely buzzing with that. His teammate offering his congratulations, saying the better man won. Matty G looks on. Very proud of his fellow pad driver, I'm going to assume. And that is all of it said and done, ladies and gentlemen. We still have, don't forget, next Sunday, do not forget, we still have more championship battles to discuss and settle. The main championship battle's out, but there's still positions to be started at Abu Dhabi, so we will see you then to see where everyone filters out. But that is it. When it's all said and done, thank you so much for watching. Congratulations immensely to Chazza for winning this championship. Well earned. And he follows up from a great 2017 with an even better 2018. That could be his last NORL championship in F1 due to the new performance balancing rules. And we'll have to find out how all of that goes. But that is it. He'll take home the trophy. And that's been round 20 at Brazil. We'll see you for the season finale this time next week. Thank you. Goodbye.